Hello and welcome to the SportsGrad podcast, your bite-sized guide to enter the sports industry. And I'm joined by none other than the speedy Reuben Williams. How are you, mate?
G'day, Ryan. I'm doing very well, thank you. I'm not feeling particularly speedy at the moment. I went for a run this morning and I was just plodding along at a very casual Monday morning type of pace, a bit sore from footy, but hopefully we'll get back to there.
That's quite impressive from you to run on a Monday morning. I just simply, if you put that in front of me, I would not be able to do it. I could not do it. It's just a no.
Well, I had a bit of a Sunday evening sort of reset, and I thought I want to start the week on a good note. Let's go for a run first thing on a Monday and just get up and going. And you know what? By midday, I felt absolutely fantastic. So I was very happy, even though I just kind of plodded along.
That is brilliant. I do envy your ability just to get up and go. I just couldn't do that. But anyway, you're a special man.
Thank you, Ryan.
All right, let's get cracking. It's a good episode. My name's Ryan Walker. He is Reuben Williams, and we are two mates who met at Cricket Australia. Now we help people find their own dream job through this very podcast and our online community. If you want to follow us, head over to LinkedIn, or even better, if you want to connect with us and hundreds of others working in sport, jump into the SportsGrad community.
And a quick shout out to our members of the SportsGrad community, and in particular to Bradley McGee, who has just landed a role as a content producer intern at the Geelong Football Club. The Geelong are flying at the moment on top of the AFL ladder. And gee, Brad would have some pretty good content to capture in his internship at the moment. So well done, Brad, and well done to Geelong Football Club for snapping up Brad, because good people are hard to come by at the moment. But Geelong were one of the first people to start using the SportsGrad community to hire quality people. So if you are like Brad and you want to get access to incredible opportunities in sport and get your first foot in the door of the sports industry, or if you are like the Geelong Football Club and you want to save time hiring people in a really quick and easy way, or if you might have started your career and you just want to network with people who work in AFL clubs, who work in cricket, who work in the biggest organisations in sport in Australia, then get involved in the SportsGrad community. Head to www.sportsgrad.com.au/community to do so.
Geelong's got a good one there. Caught up with Brad the other day. Great man. But I might add, we currently have Geelong and the Melbourne Demons currently inside the SportsGrad community, 1 and 2 on the ladder. So it's a good chance we could have a premier this year inside the SportsGrad community. It's
no surprise why they're sitting 1 and 2, if you ask me.
I didn't want to say it, Ruse. I didn't want to say it, but you've done it. It's fantastic. So good to have them involved. Now, Ruse, there's something unique about our good friends at Deakin. It's more than just world-class academics, state-of-the-art facilities, and a supportive community. It's the campus vibe that they are famous for, and you have to experience it for yourself, just like we did last week, Ruse.
That was great fun.
Out at Burwood, it was absolutely awesome. Great facilities. So don't miss your chance to see what sets Deakin apart. Experience your tomorrow at their campus open day this August. There's currently 3 open days this August, so there's some dates on their website to go check out. Go and have a look. Awesome campuses, so check it out, Deakin's website for all the info.
Absolutely. Now, today, our very special guest is Sophie Reis from the Australian Grand Prix Corporation. Sophie is the social media coordinator. She's the one with the lanyard walking around on pit lane with her phone out, capturing content to send to the masses of all these people that you would see on Drive to Survive and also racing on their motorbikes too. So Sophie's got an incredible role, and what people have to look forward to is finding out exactly what you do when you are the social media coordinator for a Formula One Grand Prix. Sophie goes into incredible depth to show us what she's doing in the event week, on the event days, and in the other 340 days in between events as well. You know, if you're interested in social media and want to know how you can do it in Formula One, Sophie gives you a pretty black and white look into what you're going to be doing. Yep.
She also goes through how to actually get a job in social media at the F1, the Australian Grand Prix. She's got a pretty good story, as you can tell. To be honest with you, it's not rocket science, but it just tells you the right thing to be doing at the time, which is, well, I'm not going to give it away, but it's a great story. She did all the right things and she got there. So check that one out.
Yeah, absolutely. It's easier to come across than people might think. Millie even got a job too, which is terrific.
Yeah.
And finally, she spoke about what it's like being a female in a male-dominated sport and a male-dominated industry and how she is pressing forward and what motivates her as well. So if you're looking for inspiration to work in sport, when you are faced with these sort of gender inequality challenges, Sophie provides a great example of someone who's putting a great foot forward in the sports industry.
Yep, absolutely. We'll grab a pen, enjoy this chat with Sophie Reis. Sophie, welcome to the SportsGrad podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
Sophie, it's awesome that you've come in here to share your wisdom of social media and Formula One with us. We're very grateful to have you here. Now, the whole purpose of this podcast is to let people know what jobs exist in sport and how you can get them.
Yep.
And often we find out from a lot of different people that their entry into sport is quite unique and different. There's all these different sliding doors moments that if they happen to be at a certain place at a certain time, that led to a certain outcome. Can you tell us about how you got your foot in the door?
Yes. Like you said, bit of a sliding doors moment. I was very lucky to be in the right place at the right time. It all started at my footy club back in 2019, of all things. Someone put a job up in our little group chat and asked if anyone wanted an event job at the Formula One Australian Grand Prix for 2019. And that was just in accreditation. So it was just for the week. Really small group of people, and that all went really well. Got the job just for the week, and from then on in 2019, I did that event, and then in 2020, just before the cancellation, I did half of that event up until the Friday, and then from there, after the lockdowns, everything, I was just constantly monitoring, I guess their LinkedIn and what they were doing. If any more roles were coming up, I was just about to finish my degree at uni, which was a business degree in marketing. And I happened to be in the right place at the right time with that as well. I just reached out to their HR manager, said, do you have anything in social media? Just about to finish my degree. And she said, we've just listed a social media coordinator job about 5 minutes ago. And I was like, okay, wow. That is perfect. From then on, I was very lucky to get through all the stages. And happened to be walking out of my graduation ceremony when I got the call saying that I got the job. So that all worked out a bit too well for me.
How's the timing on all this?
I know. Very,
Impeccable.
very lucky. I know. It was fantastic.
It's kind of like the Australian Grand Prix was watching the live stream of your graduation ceremony. Just waiting for
tuning in.
Okay, how can we
finish yet? Has she finished?
Yeah, pretty much. Felt like that for sure. But very lucky. It all worked out perfectly.
Nice one. Gee, it pays to get in touch with the hiring manager, doesn't it?
Definitely. Networking is the key, for
Absolutely.
sure. Can't recommend it enough.
Yeah. What football club were you involved in?
I play for St Kevin's Old Boys for their girls team. There's three of us. So, great team to be part of, great community. And, like I said, they have the occasional jobs up for grabs, which is really good. So that's also a great networking opportunity for me.
I was going to say the St Kevin's Old Boys Football Club have got one of the better networks in Melbourne.
Yeah.
And so if you are looking for any opportunity of any sort, that's a fantastic place to get involved.
Definitely.
And alongside that is the Uni Blues Football Club where you're involved, Ryan. Some of these football clubs, these amateur football clubs have got incredible networks.
Yeah.
Ryan, you led us to Peter Bruckner, Dr. Peter Bruckner, who's Kathy Freeman's best friend, and St Kevin's Old Boys have led you to the Australian Grand Prix.
Exactly.
So I think there's a really good lesson in about, be smart about the football club that you pick because not all networks are made the same.
So true. Yeah. Can't recommend footy enough for starters. Choosing a good group of people to be part of is fantastic. And you never know what opportunities might come up along the way.
Love that story. It's a good one. But it just shows grassroots club, there's a lot of people who have gone through every club.
100%.
There's always going to be something there.
Yeah.
So bit of a lesson for everyone.
Yeah.
Everybody who would be a fan of motorsport would think that your job is pretty damn cool. So I'm keen to hear what are the cool things about it? What does a day-to-day look like? Seriously interested.
Yeah, it's a pretty full-on job, but absolutely love it. Like I said before, my day-to-day is managing all the social media for AusGP and MotoGP, and just producing content, reporting on the races, making TikToks, of course. But yeah, during the race weekends, I'm covering the practice sessions, qualifying sessions, and the race, of course. And then during the event week, we bring on some extra staff to help me out a bit, which is fantastic. And we just create content as much as we can. We also like to bank it and save it for later, which is fantastic. We're just going through that now on TikTok. My day-to-day is just managing social media, just always online on Facebook, Twitter, you name it. I'm just looking everywhere for content.
Nice one.
I just want to go into the casuals that you bring on during race week. You say you call on more hands to do the same job that you do.
Yep.
How do you find those social media contractors?
Well, a few of them have worked for us in the past. So definitely once your foot is in the door, it helps. But I know that last year, I think two of the girls that worked for me reached out to my manager on LinkedIn and just said, do you have anything going for the event? Would love to join. And that all worked out for them really well. They were able to come on board just by sending a message to our manager, which was fantastic. And that goes for all roles. Yeah. I know that on LinkedIn we were promoting that constantly in the lead up that we're looking for some event staff to join us. And that all, that's how I would suggest getting in touch with us for sure.
Just reach out.
Amazing. Well, we happen to have a social media producer who absolutely loves the F1. I haven't prepared her for this, but Millie, do you want to work at the Grand Prix next year? Millie's in the room right now. She said she would love to. She hasn't got a microphone. Cool. Millie will chat to you after this episode, and we'll
just reach out to Sophie, I reckon.
Yeah.
And see how it goes.
Good contact. For sure. Yeah, it's amazing how many people do want to work for us, and it's fantastic. It's good to have in your resume, of course, but great to network within the wider business and get to watch some F1 and MotoGP along the way.
And the All Access Pass gets you to some extraordinary places when you're at Albert Park.
Yeah. Very grateful that we do get that all access pretty much pass. You get to go to some amazing places, standing on stage with the drivers. I got the opportunity to go onto the grid just as they were doing their lap of honour around the circuit, which was fantastic. It's pretty much a bit separated in the paddock, whereas the teams do keep to themselves in the garage, and you want to respect that. But I do know of people that were invited in along the event, and they were allowed to go in and see behind the scenes what they do. So you never know who you might meet, the opportunities that you might get during event week. It's fantastic. Brilliant.
That's really cool. So you've got event week, you've got the event days. So there's about 10 days on the calendar out of 365 times 2 Grand Prix, 20 days.
Yeah.
There's an extra 345 days to do something. What do you spend your time doing in those days between events?
So we're always working towards the next one. So the minute the F1 finished earlier this year, we were focusing on MotoGP shortly after that and selling tickets because it's the first time in 3 years that we'll have an event down at Phillip Island. So I guess making sure that the fans know that we're coming back, pushing those ticket sales and really drawing people down to Phillip Island because it is quite a remote area out of Melbourne. But the minute the one event ends, the other one is already started. So very excited to keep going and I guess look towards F1, which will be coming up soon enough.
Sorry, you go.
I got excited there. Do you cover other events? So like the F1 was on last night.
Yeah.
Would you cover that as well on your accounts?
Yeah, not as intently as we do for our own event, but I'm
just to raise awareness.
Yeah, for sure. So I guess keeping our presence on social media, saying, our fans do often want to know what's happening overseas, but they'll only follow us or only follow F1 at the time. So it is good to keep that presence up online, whether it is a graphic or putting out an article. Content creation during the weekend is very important to remind the fans that we're still here, because if we went silent for about 6 months, they'd be shocked when we just popped up again. Raising awareness of us, our business is very important.
So when you start preparation for the next event, what's the first thing that you and your team does? Do you dive straight into creating TikToks, or is this more kind of fund level thought and strategy behind it?
Probably a bit of both, to be honest. We're always looking to raise awareness, as I said before. And once tickets are on sale, then pushing those social posts out to make sure that fans are reminded to buy their tickets before the event. But yeah, also just, I guess, raising awareness in other streams, so covering the season. I guess.
So this is looking at things that you can do to raise awareness of the
definitely.
events. Gotcha.
So our campaign is quite thought out, I guess. Ticket sales. There's just a lot to think about. Social media posts, you name it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Nice. And when is the Moto Grand Prix? For those who don't know, when's it coming up?
October 14th to 16th.
You would have said that a few times.
Yeah, I think it's about 75 days away. I think. Yeah.
We should go.
Yeah.
We should go.
For sure.
We might be working with the T20 World Cup around that point in time, but if we are available, absolutely.
Definitely let us know.
Very cool.
Yeah.
That'd be an all access pass.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Millie could do some socials.
Yeah, there you go. Surely we can arrange that.
Sophie's got us covered.
Yeah, hopefully.
All good. Keen to delve into your role a little bit more. Obviously, when someone thinks social media coordinator, they might just think, social media. But what does that really look like? Like, what's something in your role that, when you say your title to someone, they wouldn't really know that you do that?
Oh, it's a good question. I guess we are constantly working with people within our business to push out socials about that. So whether it's entertainment, but also at the event, I guess I am going around constantly getting content behind the scenes that people don't know about, whether that is working with the drivers, which is very exciting. I guess just...
No, I get what you mean. Like, you're obviously you're taking socials of race day, but there's also a lot of other elements of any business that you've got to shed some light on.
Yeah.
Like you said, like ticket sales and things like that. So can imagine it'd be quite hectic, but also give everyone ample time to promote what
we're trying to promote so many parts of the event, I guess, whether it is like food or entertainment. Yeah, hospitality is a huge one. Just general activities that are going on around the circuit.
Because I remember, at Cricket Australia when I was there, you've obviously got partner content that sort of I was dealing with, but you'd have to fit it in a calendar where they've got to fit in. We've got to put tickets on sales. We've got to sell hospitality suites. We've got to do all these other things. Report on matches, things like that. So it is a bit more challenging than people realise to fit in bits of content because there's a whole array of things you've got to cover.
Our content calendar is just ridiculous during the event. Working with so many aspects of the business, partners are a huge one. Hospitality, everything.
And this is probably another question that you've got a lot, but obviously recently the Drive to Survive documentary on Netflix. Yeah, I can see you smiling. You get these asked this all the time, but I know that off the back of that, there's obviously a lot more fans. Like there's a lot more people wanting to go to the F1, and I'm just wondering whether that has had an impact on the content that you have to capture. Has that sort of changed the way that you've done things?
In a way, I definitely think Drive to Survive has boosted our platform and also the entire fan base. As a whole, because before that F1 was just another sport, I guess. Which is fantastic. Like that show has done wonders for the sport globally. But we are now curating our content to be more to casual fans as well as like the diehard F1 fans. Whether that is just reporting on the race graphics and everything, but also TikToks. I guess the casual fans do like that, to be reminded that we exist and to see that exchanges between the drivers that happened at our event that they didn't really get the inside exclusive into while they were there. Just like Drive to Survive provides like all that behind the scenes content.
You just have to wait a year until it comes out, right?
Yeah.
People are probably wanting it now.
Definitely, but the season's in filming right now.
Yeah.
So I think it comes out around March.
Yeah.
It's usually just before our event or before the season opener.
Ah, cool.
We might catch you in the background of one of the scenes now that you've been there.
Look, oh God, hope not.
So that poor guy who had to announce in 2020 when the race got cancelled.
Oh, not
he,
old mate.
He got a lot of airtime. He probably watches that thinking, oh my
we
God.
feel so bad for him, but he was the backbone of that day for us.
Shout out to him.
Shout out to him.
What a king. He's done well.
Should get him on the podcast.
Yeah, definitely.
So tell us about that day.
Oh God.
Sophie, let's talk about social media skills, things you need to be able to do day to day to do your job, to be out there on the course with the drivers. What are some of the critical parts to your job that you need to be able to do?
Definitely being organised. I can't recommend it enough. Planning the days of what content we do want to capture as well as like what we want to get along the way, hopefully. But yeah, I guess networking is a huge skill in social media. Being able to contact those people, like whether it is in F1 or the people at MotoGP, it's really important to be able to network with those people and get those communication skills up. But yeah, I guess being creative and just thinking outside the box and jumping on trends as much as we can. I guess on Twitter we're a bit more fun and trendy. And
Trendy,
TikTok,
love that word.
Trendy, of course. On TikTok we're trying to jump on trends all the time. I guess just also trying to be ahead of these trends and predict them, which is harder said than done. But yeah, doing as much as you can to forecast what's about to happen online, because it's a pretty wild space.
So the first point you made around being organised on event day. So say it's qualifying day of the Australian Grand Prix. Will you have a list of things that you want to film on your phone when you go out and walk around that day?
Yeah, for sure. And it's not just about the race on that qualifying day, because there is so much going on around the circuit, whether it's like the kids zone or the food, the hospitality. We want to capture as much as we can. There's also the support categories, so giving them some limelight is always good. I guess we do have a big content calendar and write down as much as we can to predict what we want to have at the end of the day.
And when you're planning out that list of content to capture on that particular day, how do you reach that end list? Is it just you thinking in your spare time, right, this will look nice, that'll look good too? Or is there a meeting of a few heads coming together? What does that look like to plan the content?
Yeah, definitely both. I guess in the lead up to either event, I am planning by myself, making sure that everything is consistent and what I want to see on the socials. And I guess once we get those other assistants on board, it's great to get their perspective of what they also think would be great for our socials. And I guess just capturing content around the circuit that is like unique to us and that the fans might not actually see, because, you know, Albert Park is pretty huge, so they're not going to be everywhere to see all that, all the exciting things happening. So I guess providing an insight to those fans as well who aren't there, really important. But yeah, just working through that content list is pretty intense.
That's really cool, because it always seems very impromptu or like spur of the moment, but it's actually incredibly planned, it sounds like.
It's a bit of both, don't get me wrong. There is a lot of impromptu stuff that does come up and we're like, that would be great. And often that is the content that does best on social media, whereas, I guess on our TikTok, that's a perfect example. My manager happened to see Fernando Alonso spinning a basketball on his finger with, I think it was the Globetrotters basketball team. Yeah. And just captured that 14-second piece of content, and it did numbers, like over 1.5 million views on TikTok. It was just, you never know what's going to go viral, I guess.
Wow.
Yeah, so that really casual content does best, I'd say. I'm
fascinated by TikTok, and we've the SportsGrad TikTok has just kicked off, so those listening, jump on and have a look. But I'm interested, sort of, what do you think makes a really good TikTok? Because you kind of see some that, you know, do really well, then, you know, you might see another video that's probably almost the same, but it doesn't do that well. So I'm keen to understand sort of what do you try and capture when you are making them?
Yeah, there is no algorithm on TikTok, I've found. You cannot predict what will go viral and what will do well, which we've found along the way. It's hard because we think something will do well, will follow the trend, but doesn't catch on, probably because every other person on TikTok has also done the trend. So just capturing unique content that no one else has seen, it's original, is like what does the best by far. But yeah, I can't. There's no answer to TikTok. There's so much going on that platform. Yeah.
No, fair enough.
Nice.
We'll keep trying.
Yeah, exactly. That was really
Something will take off.
Yeah.
that was for our own benefit, that question.
Fair enough.
Trying to crack the code.
Yeah.
Can it be draining being on your phone all the time if you're constantly checking what's the F1 account doing, who's commenting, what are fans doing as well, what or other user-generated content out there that we can repost? Does that become taxing and exhausting?
It is quite exhausting in some sense, but I do love this part of my job. And I do make sure that I have time off my phone and my laptop and just take a deep breath and step away from it, because it is like so addicting to be on your phone all the time. But yeah, I guess I do have a good team that is constantly checking other platforms for me, or like we'll see stuff in their feed just casually scrolling. And I do have a lot of friends that happen to send me a lot of stuff all the time. And they're like, this might be good for socials, or like, we've just seen a really good piece of content that could work in your favour, which is fantastic because I cannot see it all as much as I would love to. But it's
Probably
intense.
probably the one job in the world where it's okay to be on your phone at work the whole time.
Exactly. I don't want to look unprofessional, but I'm just doing my job.
Yeah, your screen time would be through the roof.
Oh, it is. Some days is awful.
Like what sort of numbers are we talking?
Oh God, I don't know. It changes because I am on my laptop as well, thankfully. But I don't know. I think my most ever was probably during lockdowns, probably 11 hours or something.
Wow.
It was just insane. I don't think I left my phone all day. It was just insane. Something must have happened that day. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was a pretty intense day, but I think I average about 5-6 hours. But it's not constantly on. It's just sitting there in case something happens.
You'd need a seriously good phone battery too.
Yeah, she's doing well.
You need one of those power banks that just sit there.
Yeah. I have one on my
Charges
desk.
all
I
day.
couldn't live without it.
The ideas that your friends and your family are sending to you, do you collect these anywhere? Like, how do you keep tabs of all these ideas? And if something like comes to you in the middle of the night, do you write it down? Do you put it somewhere safe? What do you do with the ideas?
I guess I do love the Notes app. It's a great app. Write down a lot of ideas in there for potential content and how we can spin that into our own user-made content. But I guess using the saved function on Instagram and on TikTok is such a good feature. We just have hundreds of videos saved for the event, making little folders of what we can use for next year's event, or what other Grand Prix, other Formula 1 teams, MotoGP teams are all doing, and how we can make that our own. Really important. But yeah, I guess the Notes app, writing a lot of ideas down all the time.
How do you categorize the folders? Like, what goes into each bucket?
Probably got my drivers folder, my event
bad.
folder. Good, bad. Oh God, what not to do. No, definitely the event folder is pretty big, what we want to do at the event, and Grand Prix folder for what other Grand Prix around the world are doing and how we can replicate that in our own terms. But yeah, I wouldn't say there's a method to my madness. So it's a bit of everything.
So you kind of sort it by the type of content.
For sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Nice.
Gotcha. I can see how that'd be extremely handy come event or planning time. You just dive deep into what everyone else has done throughout the year.
Go back to the well. It's
Just
awesome.
go for a scroll through all of that content.
Yeah. I want to go to your sort of career as a whole now. Obviously, you've done a fair few things before you got to this role. Is there anything that sort of stands out to you as having really prepared you for the role you're in now?
You could say that I had a little bit of experience on social media beforehand. I did have a cake business, reasonably successful business before this job. And during lockdown, during uni, I think that it was almost at 3,000 followers, but it could have been full-time job easily. Yeah. And that was also that was running every aspect of the business rather than just social media. It was also making the cakes, which is intense as anything. But that's where I got most of my experience, self-taught a lot of things along the way. I guess not everyone can run a cake business, but like hustling, I guess, as they say. Getting that experience, whether it is just on your own, running your own small side hustle or working for someone small, I can't recommend getting experience anywhere enough.
You know who Sophie reminds me of?
Who?
Emily Collin. So Emily Collin is the social media producer at Cricket Australia who looks after at Oz Women's Cricket follows the Australian women's cricket team around the world, literally in Birmingham at the Commonwealth Games right now, capturing content for them. She got her start by running the social media account of her local pizza shop. So Pizza Religion in Elstonwick or somewhere, she was literally taking photos of pizza and posting them online. And when she went to Cricket Australia and said, hey, I've got experience, it was in a tiny little pizza shop capturing food images.
Yep.
Very similar to you.
For sure. And that, I guess...
Start with food.
Food is the answer to everything. And I would say, just like her, having that portfolio is the perfect example of like putting it on your resume, and then you can just hand it to the hiring manager and say, look, this is what I've done already, rather than just like your standard resume. You can actually prove that you can create this content and know what you're doing in some sense. So yeah, I can imagine that worked out really well for her as well.
This is incredible insight. For those looking for pathways into social media in the biggest organisations in the world, start with tiny food platforms.
Makes all the sense, doesn't it?
For sure. Can't recommend it enough.
Oh, that's awesome. That's cool.
So if you mentioned that motorsport is heavily male dominated, can you share what it's like and whether that motivates you to pursue the job?
Definitely. I think it's come a long way since it started back in the day. There are so many women getting into motorsport, whether it is F1, MotoGP, supercars, you name it. These jobs obviously can be done by anyone as long as you've got the right experience and just go for it. And I guess that really motivates me to just break that stigma down a bit and do something where other girls can also follow in my footsteps and show that it can be done by anyone as young as I am. I'm only 22, running the Grand Prix social media accounts, which is pretty crazy. But also being a woman is so important, and being able to work within, like, my entire digital team is all guys. So while that is a little bit intimidating at the beginning, love them, they're great, it can be really good to see how we can all work together.
Fantastic. Tell us, like, when you were thinking about getting into sport, did being a female make it harder for you to believe that you could actually make it a reality?
In some sense, yeah. I guess when you're looking at all those on social media, looking at the TV broadcast, a lot of it is male dominated, and you're like, can I really get there? But I feel like we are more progressive in 2022, whereas I was just like, let's just go for it, see what happens. They can only say no. Breaking that stigma down is really important.
And I think what you're doing now is absolutely fantastic, because you've created an example that allows other people to have self-belief in achieving their own career goals. And if they want to work in the Formula One, or if they want to work in cricket or football, whatever it is, people like yourself and Emily working in these roles creates an example for other females to believe that,
for sure,
you know, this is an option for them as well. People
can picture themselves in these roles when they see others doing exactly what they want to do. I feel like anything is possible if you can put your mind to it and just go for it.
One of our previous podcast guests is Kelly Ryan. She's the current CEO of Netball Australia, and she's the only female CEO amongst all the major sports here in Australia. And that was kind of exemplified at a conference earlier this year where they had Gillan McLaughlin from the AFL and Nick Hockley from cricket and all the other CEOs. And Kelly's the only female there on stage. If you haven't already, I'd highly recommend going back to listen to her, because, you know, you just hear this sort of inner belief and determination to get where she wants to go that is quite inspiring for anybody. But it sounds like you've got that inner belief that isn't going to let anything else stand in your way.
I like to think that I have that drive to be successful and get places where I do want to go, and just pave the way for others. I think it's really important to see women in these powerful roles. Running such a huge organisation is just fantastic, and it would be great to see more women up there one day, hopefully in the near future.
Amazing.
Absolutely. I saw this crazy stat before. It was the 3 biggest crowds for a soccer game have all been, in 2022, like the biggest ones, have all been female matches.
Yeah.
And I think that just shows, you know, the growth of women's sport and what is happening out there.
Women's sport is definitely up and coming, if not already. And it is great to see those numbers, because it shows that it is possible. And I guess with AFLW, it'd be great to see those crowds eventually hit those huge numbers at the MCG and around Australia. And I guess seeing females in motorsport is so important. Seeing the W Series class is fantastic. I hope to see a few of those drivers make their way up into F2 and F1 eventually. I'm quite surprised there aren't any female drivers already, but that's another story. And I think it will really help young girls eventually work out what they want to do and see that other females are already in that position and they can get there themselves.
Brilliant. Sophie, to round things out, if you could go back in time to university and say you're walking through the corridor and you see that a desk has been left open and you want to leave a note on that desk for the student to come back to, something that's going to help them with their career, what would you leave on the note for that student?
God, that's a big question. I guess, like I mentioned before, anything is possible if you work hard enough and put your mind to it. I would just suggest networking as hard as you can. Getting that experience in any possible industry is fantastic. No experience is bad experience, as they say. Just going for it. They can only say no. That's how I got here, I guess. Yeah, just putting yourself out there. Just don't be afraid to reach out to those high up people because you never know where you'll end up.
And pick your football club wisely.
Exactly. So important.
Yeah. Go to St Kevin's or Uni Blues. Awesome. Sophie, it's been great going through your career in sport and obviously your role at the Grand Prix. Like just hearing all the behind the scenes stuff that you do, all the planning that you have to go through to get the content that you need is super cool. And like you said, just you reached out to someone, right? You put yourself out there and got in touch to see what was out there.
Yeah.
And it's paid off. And,
Exactly.
all the experience with your cake business as well, like bit of a roadmap there for people to follow. So thanks again for coming in. I've loved chatting to you. And if we need any TikTok help, we'll know where to come to.
Feel free to reach out anytime. Thank you so much for having me
Awesome.
on. I had so much fun.
Awesome, Rubes. Great episode. Sophie has some great insight into what it's like to work in socials and in motorsport as well. What did you love about that?
Right. I think the biggest takeaway for this is if you are looking to work in social media, start small. Sophie started taking photos of the cakes that she baked and she learned to create content by taking on her own project. So if you want to work in social media, you don't need to do all these long fancy courses or spend heaps of time at university doing all these different things. If you literally get your phone out and start filming something interesting and practice creating content, you can work at the Formula One Grand Prix. The Melbourne Formula One Grand Prix this year, I think, was the most attended Grand Prix ever.
Yeah.
Formula One's just about the hottest sport in the world right now. And you can work in that, covering it on your phone if you go around filming cakes. Like, I don't know how...
Not to downplay it.
Not to downplay it, but like
Yeah.
that's how accessible some of these roles are. Like, and she's obviously done a really good job creating content. So you got to build up the skill at the same time.
Yeah.
But the point I'm trying to make is just get started on something, anything, doesn't matter what it is. And then eventually your opportunity will come at the biggest sporting organisations in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. My takeaway is just reach out to that person that you're umming and ahhing about. I feel like everybody who's coming through has seen someone on LinkedIn or, they know someone who's doing something that they really want to do. And they're probably thinking, do I reach out to them? Do I not? Sophie just bit the bullet and reached out to a hiring manager at the Australian Grand Prix. They happened to be hiring and she got the job. Like sometimes it can just be as simple as that. So just stop holding back. Just do it.
You know who I'm really proud of right now?
Who?
That's Millie.
Yeah.
Because I said to Millie, make sure you follow up Sophie. And Millie said, I already did. On the way out of saying thank you to Sophie out of our podcast recording studio, Millie's just dropped I'll let you know about the job.
Yeah, love
and
that.
Sophie goes, absolutely, you're in.
Just embedding it.
Yeah.
It's in her head now. So.
That's it. So be more like Millie and follow up immediately.
Absolutely. That was an awesome app, Rubes. Are there any other apps around that social media space that anyone can enjoy as well?
Yeah, well, I mentioned Emily Collin, the social media producer for the Australian women's cricket team. She's an excellent person to tune into. I believe she is around the 176 mark, something around there. So she's from Cricket Australia. Will Taylor is another great one working for the ICC T20 World Cup, who is also working in social media. He's more around the 180 sort of mark. But those two should really, really set you straight. They are both two excellent quality content creators doing their job in cricket. In fact, as we mentioned, Emily's over in Birmingham right now at the Commonwealth Games doing a quick contract over there.
Unreal. Absolutely unreal. Awesome. Well, connect with us on LinkedIn, plus be sure to jump into the SportsGrad community. We'd love to chat with you on there. Head to sportsgrad.com.au/community to join, or head to the link in our show notes. Also, if you love the show, we would love for you to rate the show 5 stars wherever you listen to your podcast, subscribe on Apple, and follow on Spotify. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.